Okay, in this video, let's take a look at how you can get started creating gems in Gemini. So a gem is different than a regular chat like you would do in Gemini. So Gemini is, when you create a gem in Gemini, you are saving a specific behavior for the AI, a specific set of instructions that you don't have to tell it what to do ever again. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So I'm going to come over here to, if you don't see this left-sided panel open, click the three little lines right here to make sure it's open. And you're going to see at the very top here it says gems. And you're going to open that up, and then you're able to see Google's gem page. So the gem manager is where you're at, and then you have a bunch right here that are made by Google that you can use, and then below the ones that you have created. Now I've created a whole bunch, so let me show you some examples of a gem. So here's one that I just made the other day. It's called the sentence image combiner, and this gem is trained where if I give a simple sentence, it's going to create an image with the sentence. Again, this is for lower elementary and doing some kind of a vocabulary and reading. So for example, here if I put the dog is on the mat, and then, so this is trained to, all I have to do is type that or paste that in, and it's automatically going to generate the image. I don't have to tell it to make an image. It's the set of instructions is built right in. So it takes a few seconds here for it to process, and then we'll see that it generates an image based off of the sentence that I just gave it. Again, this is almost like trained behavior. So here it is, dog is on the mat. So whatever simple sentence that I put in there, it's going to create an image in this style like this. I don't have to tell it to make this style. This behavior is saved. So let's go back here to gems to show you the process of how to do this. So right here in my gems, we're going to hit the button right here. It says new gem, and we can go ahead and give it a name here. So for example, if I was to do something like this, we'll call this my English Learner Lesson Enhancer. All right, so the description is like the instructions that you'll see in the small text here below. So think of description is more like instructions here. So I'm going to say type or paste in your lesson plan. All right. Now here are the instructions. This is the most important part here. The instructions is the behavior that you want this gem to do every single time. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say the user will type or paste a lesson plan, give a 2-column output showing the lesson plan on the left, and on the right, put suggestions for supported English learners next to each component of the lesson. So, and again, as you give instructions, it's always to be as detailed as possible. Don't be afraid to ramble. Put what you want and what you don't want. So I'm also going to think about the output. So I'm going to say make the final output exportable to Google Docs. Now, this is, again, just me describing what I want this to do. This is actually pretty detailed. It should work. Now, you have a Gemini button right here. If I click this button, this is going to enhance this and make it much more detailed and fleshed out. So go ahead and click that there. And Gemini is going to really flesh it out much more and make it much more detailed. So it has better overall instructions for a gem. So it took my words and just made it much more detailed and thorough. So next one here says default tool. So again, we have a variety of tools here that you can use. So again, we're not going to make music or a video. We're not doing the research. We're not making images. You can, by default, this is no tool. For something like this, I would say Canvas, because Canvas allows you to create outputs that are easily exportable to things like docs and slides and spreadsheets. So in this case here, I would choose Canvas. You don't have to, but for a gem like this is what I would choose. And let's say, for example, you had a template for what a lesson plan should look like, or maybe some documents about suggestions for English learners. And you can click here to add it from your computer or your drive, and you can add that there. And then so when it adds those suggestions for English learners, it will then pull from those sources and not just the internet. So again, this part is up to you. So right here it's pretty much set. I'm going to go ahead and click save, and we're going to go ahead and hit start chat here to go ahead and test it out. This is what it would look like for real here. So if I was to put, for example, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask Gemini. I'm going to get out of this right now. I'm going to ask Gemini to create a lesson plan just to test this out here. So create a 45-minute lesson about volcanoes for third graders. We keep this basic, and I'm going to use this as my test one out, my test lesson plan here for this. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to take what it gives me here. We'll go ahead and copy it, and we're going to go here to gems, and here's the one that we just created. And again, just type or paste. I don't have to tell it what to do. I'm just going to paste in this lesson, hit enter, and we're going to go ahead and see how this fleshes out. It shows English learner suggestions for each component of this lesson here. So it's going to think it's going to open up here in the canvas, and we're going to go ahead and see. So if you go right here, it shows you each component, and it shows you the EL suggestions for this lesson plan of how we can use it. Now, then you have this share button right here. It says export to docs, and now you have all the suggestions for that lesson are all right here on an easy to just read and print out Google Doc. So in a nutshell, this is the process for creating a gem. Again, you want to explain details and the instructions, what you want them to do, the description, maybe telling the user what they should do, like as far as typing, pasting, any kind of trigger words there. Again, you want to choose your tool. And this for this type of gem, I said use Canvas. Don't have to, but for this one, I recommend using Canvas. And if you have any reference documents on the knowledge section, click there and add those documents there. So if you have any questions about how to set up a gem, feel free to reach out at any time.